On behalf of the City of Stockton, our thoughts and prayers go out to Officer Jimmy N's family, friends, and colleagues. Today is a difficult reminder that when the men and women of law enforcement leave their homes and families to go to work, they might not return home that evening. Law enforcement is a dangerous profession. However, I want our community to know that our police officers will continue to be vigilant and protect and serve our city. At this time, I'm going to ask Chief Eric Jones to come forward to provide additional insights and details regarding this morning's incident.
Good afternoon, everyone. It's a very difficult day for everybody here at the Stockton Police Department, for our community. Here we are in National Police Week, where we honor the fallen officers who have given the ultimate sacrifice nationwide. Actually, we were wearing these mourning bands, the black bands, this week to honor fallen officers across the nation over the years. And so, unfortunately, we had that happen to one of our officers today. So it's with great sadness that I'm here today to inform you that Stockton Police Officer Jimmy N., I-N-N, was shot and killed in the line of duty. He gave the ultimate sacrifice, and he came to work every day putting his life on the line for complete strangers he'd never met. Coming to work to protect members of our community, knowing it's a dangerous job, and knowing that going to disturbance calls are extremely dangerous. But we do it because it's what we do to protect our community, and sometimes that sacrifice comes up, and unfortunately did for us today. I'm going to go over some preliminary information of what we know so far. This morning at 9:45 a.m., the Stockton Police Dispatch Center received a call of a disturbance in the 4400 block of La Cresta Way in North Stockton. The caller reported hearing screaming, saw a woman with a ripped shirt who was bleeding, and appeared to have been assaulted. Stockton Police Officer Jimmy N. was dispatched to the call and arrived on scene at 10:07 a.m. Shortly after arriving on scene, Officer N. was in front of the residence when he was shot by the suspect, a black male adult. It was a violent, blatant, and very sudden assault on our police officer. Another uniformed Stockton police officer arrived on scene while this was happening, and he, what we believe, exchanged gunfire also during about that time. The suspect briefly then entered his home and returned moments later holding a young child. The suspect began to strangle the child in front of our officer and refused to comply with the officer's commands. A community member tackled the suspect as the officer approached, and the officer discharged his duty weapon, striking the suspect. Indications are that the suspect was attempting to kill the child, an 8-year-old boy. Stockton Police Officer Jimmy N. was transported to a local hospital where he died from his injuries. The suspect was also transported to an area hospital and also died from his injuries. This is now a multi-agency protocol investigation, which includes the San Joaquin County District Attorney's Office, the California State Department of Justice, the San Joaquin County Medical Examiner, and investigators with the Stockton Police Department. Please remember that information is still coming in, as this is an ongoing investigation. We are currently interviewing multiple people, reviewing video footage, processing evidence. We will try to provide timely updates as more information becomes available. I want to talk about Jimmy N. He was positive, an optimistic person, so very well liked around the police department. The epitome of what a Stockton police officer should be. So tragically, his life was taken today. Officer Jimmy N. was assigned to the Field Operations Division and was hired in December of 2015. He was also a member of our Honor Guard, who also honored fallen officers in other jurisdictions. Jimmy leaves behind his wife, Tila, who is also a Stockton police officer. as well as a 7-month-old son, a 12-year-old stepdaughter, and a 14-year-old stepson. I would like to remind everyone, Officer Jimmy N. was responding to a domestic violence report to assist a domestic violence victim, and he died protecting those who could not protect themselves. Police work is inherently dangerous, and our officers will continue to protect the community that we serve. Again, he gave the ultimate sacrifice knowing this is a dangerous job. We have time for a few questions.
Chief, I saw from TV that there was a bullet hole in the window of the patrol car. Was that Officer N's car, and did he have a chance to even get out of the car? Was he ambushed as he was sitting in there?
Yes, I'm able to state that Officer N was shot near the front door of the residence. It was the second responding officer who we believe exchanged in gunfire as that was happening, and he was at his vehicle during that time. We do believe preliminary indications are that some of the bullets from the suspect may have struck the police car as he was rolling up to the scene.
And Chief, have you been there before for that suspect in particular?
I don't have that information available, but we will provide it when available.
Chief, have you established a relationship between the man involved in this and the woman and child?
The exact relationship for the domestic dispute, we aren't able to provide exact details with the female that was involved in the original call for service, as well as the child that we believe he was attempting to kill in front of the police officer.
Is that because of the nature of the incident or the investigation?
Because the investigation is still ongoing, and we want to ensure we have all of those details correct before providing.
Chief, a lot of you guys are hurting within the police department. What resources are offered for those who are hurting right now?
Yes, it's very difficult for our police department, for officers. We just have to be, the city manager and I were out today outside the emergency room, talking with our officers, praying with our chaplains. It's about supporting one another, acknowledging we still have work to do, but we want to honor Jimmy in every way possible. And it's traumatic for our department, clearly. And so not just because we have a fallen officer, but his wife is one of ours as well. So this really hits home for so many different reasons. So we have a wellness network that we're really leaning upon, which is from police psychologists to peer support for one another, as well as police chaplains, and really making sure we're talking about it, that we have the time to grieve, and that we together move forward as a police department for our community. And this is an opportunity where our police department and our community can come together.
Chief, do you have any statistic about the shootings in this neighborhood, specific in the last year?
Not available for me, but available with me, rather, but the public information officer can get that later.
And any information about this specific neighborhood?
Right, not with me over the year-long period of time, but we can get some information later.
Any message for the community in this neighborhood?
Pardon?
Do you have any message for the community?
Thank you. The message I would have for the community is to honor Jimmy N. for laying down his life to sacrifice for others, to acknowledge that police work is dangerous and we should support our police officers as much as possible, but also that this department will move on, and we will work together to move forward to protect our community.
Thank you.
Chief, sorry for your loss. I wanted to ask you about some more detail, as much as you can provide us, and I appreciate what you have so far. It sounds like it was a chaotic scene from the moment that Officer In arrived to the moment that suspect was shot. How rapidly did that happen? How quickly did that all unfold? If you could walk us through that a little bit. And then also, if you could speak to this neighbor, Good Samaritan, who jumped in. I mean, that sounds like a hero right now.
Yes, it's a very brave thing to do, to engage in a dangerous situation like that. And that citizen may very well have helped save that child's life as well, so the officer was able to take the action that they did at the time. I would just say that it unfolded very rapidly. From the moment of the suspect shooting Officer Jimmy in near the front door, and then possible continued exchange of gunfire, to then coming out of the residence with the child, and then the assailant attempting to kill the child there by strangulation. And again, those events unfolded quite rapidly.
Over a matter of minutes? Was it 10 minutes, 2 minutes?
I would say a couple minutes.
Was he shot backing away from the residence, do you know, or was he approaching the residence?
That's the specifics of that are still under investigation.
Chief has time for one more question.
Chief, if you're talking to Taylor, and what was that conversation like? Was she working today?
I'll just say this, Tila is an amazing woman, an amazing spouse, and so, yes, we had a conversation, but I'm going to keep that conversation between us for interest of and respect of the family. But she's an amazing woman who has an amazing amount of support from this police department and from this city.
If I could
Thank
ask
you,
one last
everybody.
question, I'm sorry. Was Officer N, as far as you know, able to communicate anything at all to this suspect prior to him being shot?
That exact part is still under investigation as well. Okay, thank you everybody
for
being
coming.
here.
But did they both have the cameras on their person? Yeah, okay. They were wearing them, but then they were viewing whether or not okay. But there is some footage. But can you say from both officers or? Okay, so there's some footage, we just don't know which. I'm wondering if he was rolling.